Conversation with Mr. Jim Dow from Citizens Trust Bank. So he just got a text message, so I'm just gonna make sure that I put this out there. The phone number to call in is 770-415-2149. 770-415-2149. Any of your questions about loans and banking or any of that, give us a call. Between Jim's expertise and mine, I think I have a little bit of knowledge from banking. I'm a little bit more humble than him, but you know. Jim is a really great guy, so I appreciate him being here. So when we left off, we were talking about the loans that you guys do. So let's kind of break it down for the audience listening. I'm a new business owner. Again, 6 months to about 2 years. What do I need to bring to you?
Sure. And I'm glad that you start at that point in the business cycle, okay? Because that is typically the hardest time to get financing, okay? Most banks want to see at least 2 years in operation, 2 years worth of financials, sometimes 3 years, okay? And so that startup financing is tough, and it's tough for banks to do, and it's tough for Citizens Trust Bank to do also. But what I think you ought to do in that time frame is go, come to the bank.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at where you are right now and help provide advice on how to grow to the point to where you are. And I'm not a big fan of the term bankable, but, get to the point where you are bankable, okay? And what I can do is see where you are, where you want to go, and help you map out how to get there.
Okay.
What your numbers should look like, and maybe I might have some ideas on how to go ahead and increase revenues, control the expenses, and get to the point where at 2 years I'm gonna say, okay, we can go ahead and work from here. There are programs out there that'll help startups. SBA is the one everybody knows, okay? And Citizens Trust Bank does do SBA 7A, SBA 504 type of loans to help out with the startups. When we reach the point of, okay, this is something that banks are going to want to do and to help you with, we're typically going to ask for the last 2 years of your financials, and we'd like to see the tax returns, and we'd also like to see the internally prepared statements that you've kept. And that's why it's so important to have someone, Sean, like yourself, advising the business owners right from the beginning. No joke, I have received financials written in pencil on just a piece of paper.
Don't believe you me.
Yeah, and not even typed into the computer on an Excel spreadsheet, but just, scribbling and penciling.
I've received financials where it was just a box of receipts and they said, here's my financials.
Absolutely. What we see, even with some seasoned businesses, 5, 6, 7 years, are, here are my bank statements. You figure out my financials. Well, okay. I'll help, I'll show you how you can get me your income and expenses off of those bank statements and receipts.
But I'm not about to do that.
But, that's not something that your bank's gonna do for you. And that's something that, Sean, you provide to the clients that we've jointly held. How to make it look correctly, what sequence they should be in, and how to break it out, what the bank's gonna be looking at, so make sure you have them broken out this way, so.
And with that being said, it goes back to the team environment that I create, partnering with Jim, partnering with, I have a CPA partner as well. We make sure that those things are there, but I think the scariest thing I've seen was I've had a business owner that was in business for maybe about 4 years, and he had all of his statements were personal statements just in his name, and I'm like, but you have a structure, yeah, but I don't have a bank account in my business name. Nobody, you've been in business, and I mean making a significant amount of money, and he just didn't know.
Right.
So a trip, like you said, even if it wasn't, he had taken on me, but even if he had taken on me, a trip to the bank would have saved him a lot of hard
Oh,
work.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and like we just spoke about with the three-legged stool with the attorney, banker, and the CPA, would have started out from day one doing it in the proper format. So, naturally, as I stated, tax returns, financial statements, we also need information on everybody who owns that borrowing entity. And that's another thing I want to pause on, is a borrowing entity. A lot of folks, when they start out the business, say bakery,
Okay.
they bake at home, they make wonderful things, everybody says, you ought to do this and make money doing this, you could do that. So they decide they're gonna do that, and they bake some items, and they sell some items, and, you know, that's kinda how they get started. But they've never kept track of how much money I should rightly charge for the product, what are my expenses in manufacturing the product, distributing the product. So even though it's something you think you're doing at home for fun and you just enjoy doing it, you're actually doing a full multi-million-dollar business structure and you're just not aware of it. I've got accounts receivables and accounts payable, and I've got expenses coming in, and I've got raw goods that I'm turning into a finished product, and I have to market it and I have to distribute it. So whether you're making a cupcake or you're making a car, it's the same type of cycle. So having those three folks on the front end will have you going down the road correctly. So now we gather those financials. Please have yourself a company, okay? It is, I can't tell you how simple it is to set up an LLC. You can do it all online, and you set it up, and you have your articles, and you have your, I got 100 shares at a penny a share, or whatever you wanna do, but you've got the structure. Sean, it is so important that when you start a business, that you have that structure, because folks, a lot of folks don't realize that if something goes wrong in that business and somebody wants to come after that business,
They are fully liable.
you are fully liable. Your car is involved, your house is involved, your couch is involved, everything is involved unless you're protected under some sort of a company structure, typically an LLC.
And I just wanna chime in right there. If you're also looking to borrow money, your time doesn't start of that 2-year window that we were talking about until you have a legal entity.
Right.
I've met numerous people that said, I've been in business for 5 years, but they had no business entity to lend to,
Right,
which makes it difficult as well. So
Absolutely.
you're 100%, I laughed at that because you would think that when somebody says they're in business, forming an entity is the first or the simplest thing they do, and it's just not.
correct. Yeah.
Secretary of State in the state that you live in can help you file your business, and you can go to the IRS.gov and get an EIN number, and it's totally free.
Oh, absolutely, and you know, I've done an LLC myself, and I was surprised at how easy it was to download forms and fill them out, and how easy it was to get an EIN number at IRS.gov. It takes literally minutes to get it done, and to have that structure in place, it's just not much time at all.
And you'll be surprised also, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you get on, a lot of times a CPA can advise you the proper structure. People
Absolutely.
jump right and get an LLC, not realizing that there are different types, and I know this is a CPA conversation, but you can have an LLC filing as an S corp, or you may just go with an S corp or a C. So again, the importance of having the three-legged stool that we talked about, the CPA is very essential in that. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
Absolutely, no, good point to make. And then the information on everybody who owns that entity. Folks need to be prepared that they're going to guarantee loans. So it's called recourse or non-recourse. Recourse means that you're guaranteeing the loan personally.
Okay.
Banks are gonna wanna see that, they're gonna wanna have that on there. Non-recourse would be the loans to the business, but you don't personally guarantee what it is. They're difficult to get,
I would
okay?
ready to say, out of the loans that you do, what's the percentage of non-recourse loans?
I've been doing these for 18 years, I think I've done 2 non-recourse loans. We just need to have that safety of the owners being that involved with the loan.
Okay.
And that involved with the business. You're asking the bank to put their capital into your business and to loan you the money, yet you're not willing to
sign it
guarantee
without a
that.
line.
So you're asking me to have more faith in your business than you have.
You know, when you say it like that, you know how people think or they say something, but when they hear somebody else say it, it kind of sounds like logical. Because a lot of people feel like that. Well, why should I, if the business is there, why should I have to personally guarantee
Right,
it?
and what we typically hear is, the business is so strong, why do I have to guarantee it?
No, if
Well,
the
if
business is
the-
so strong, why wouldn't you
Why
guarantee
wouldn't you
it?
guarantee it? Exactly. So, in order to do that, we need to see your personal tax returns, and we need to see what's called a personal financial statement. And they're typically about 4 pages long, and I know folks can look at those personal financial statements and say, oh, God, I don't wanna fill all this out, okay? Once again, your CPA can help you do it, and it's something that you need to keep up to date. So every year, the bank's gonna wanna see your personal financial statement. What are your liabilities? What are your assets? What's your cash? How are you able to handle all that? So, those are really the building blocks that we get started So I meet with the business, I gather that information, and I go back to my office, and the first thing I do is what I'm sure you're familiar with, it's called the down and dirty. Okay? So I'm gonna take a look at the 5 C's of credit. Please don't ask me to recite what they are. There's capital, collateral, capacity, character, and something else.
When he gets to work tomorrow, let's make sure we give him grief that he didn't notify, and he brought it up. I didn't even bring it up.
That's right. Hey, I got 4 out of 5 for sure. But so I'm going to quickly take a look at all of those, and I'm going to see how much money you're asking for, what that loan structure will look like, so what the payments are going to look like, and how that impacts your business's cash flow. Do you have the ability to repay the debt? I'm not looking at it just on for every $1 you bring into the business, there is $1 of debt. That's called 1-to-1. I need to see a cushion in there, and typically that cushion's going to be for every $1 of debt you have $1.25 coming in or $1.35 coming in. So there's that little cushion in there, and that's called the debt service coverage when we calculate that. Then I'm going to look at what collateral is being offered, and what's the loan look like compared to the value of that collateral. Okay, so I'm doing a lot of analysis on the initial loan to see if it's something that's viable and that can work. Okay, if it is, we move forward. But what if it isn't? Okay,
Yeah.
we have what's called credit enhancements that can be done. So if the loan is really on the border, and I'm going, gee, I'd like to do this, but the risk is really a little bit more than I want to take. There are avenues that I can go and take a look at. I can look at the SBA, see if they'll help me out. I can take a look at my personal favorite, what's called the State Small Business Credit Initiative. And a little bit on that came from President Obama's administration,
Okay.
where every state got a certain allotment of funds, and the purpose of those funds is to help stimulate economic growth, retain or create jobs inside of each state. So the state of Georgia, a few years back, got their allotment. Wonderful folks over at the SSBCI. It's run by Holly Hunt here in the state of Georgia. I work primarily with Tim Smith and Alan Jacobs over there.
Okay.
And what I do is I see if this fits their criteria. Can they guarantee a portion of the loan setting aside those funds, or do they actually want to buy a portion of the loan, depending upon the size of the loan? That may be the credit enhancement that pushes me into the approval arena, and lets me go ahead and then move forward with the loan. Okay?
Okay.
All of that is done without the borrower's knowledge. It's all done free. It's all done because as a community bank, we need to serve our community, and when someone in that community asks, will this work, I'm gonna do all that work and let you know. Okay? Now, let's say we move forward. Then there's the formal writing up of the loan. It's sent to the underwriters, I've already mentioned. They're gonna pick apart those financials. They're gonna help with structure. They're gonna come up with questions. And now they're gonna ask me to talk with the client again and get answers to those questions.
Okay.
Okay? If all that works out fine, we then go through our approval process, and depending upon the dollar amount, I can approve it myself at certain dollar levels. Farron Logan can approve them at a certain dollar level. Our chief credit officer, Fred Daniels, he can go ahead and approve at a certain level. And then we go into the committee structures after that. All of the officers have a certain level of authority, and then the directors of the bank have the final say, depending on certain dollar levels. But now we're getting up into millions of dollars in loans to get up.
So essentially what you're saying to me, Jim, is that for a small business owner, depending on the amount, that decision is made right there on one, everybody's right there on one floor. It's not going out of state. It's done right there on that 27th floor where all your colleagues are.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our smaller dollar loans can even be handled in the centers, okay? When it gets to a certain sophistication or dollar level, that's when it comes into us. All those decisions are all handled on our floor. There's no Charlotte, there's no Dallas, there's no Sacramento, it's there.
Everything is right here in the window.
Right, now, if we have to bring in the credit enhancements of SBA or SSBCI,
You have no control.
now we have other folks that we have to bring in. But yes, all those decisions are right there. Even when we get to our biggest dollar loans, those committees I spoke of are there, right here at our headquarters.
I don't know, I'm excited about this because I'm in the industry, and when I met him and he told me, again, I've sat at tables with him in my boardroom with my clients, and when he told me the process and how he's done it, people look at it and they don't get it because they weren't a part of, I guess, the system.
Right.
For somebody to be able to do that, and like Jim said, it's not all based off credit. Credit is important, but we need to paint the story. We need to understand your business. And so many people don't try because they say, well, my credit isn't where it needs to be. You need to at least talk so we can formulate a plan to come out of it.
Right.
Because one of the things I always tell people is if I was to kidnap you, and I know it's a harsh term, and blindfold you, spin you around 10 times, and then told you, get to California, how could you get to California if you don't know where you are?
Correct.
How can you ever get to your goal if you don't know where you currently stand? So they're so nervous about hearing no, or, you're bad here, or whatever the case may be. Bad credit could just be medical bills.
Sure.
And I think you were talking about some of the medical bills you don't even look at.
Oh, absolutely. I brought that up, and I'm glad that you brought up the credit. Coming from the environment that I did in ending up at Citizens Trust Bank, one of the things that I found, or I'm going to call it the thing I found most surprising, was the credit scores and how we look at them. Because I was so used to 12 years of, here's the minimum, and it's 640, and they're at 630, cross them off and move on, okay? But at Citizens Trust Bank, whatever that credit score is, we understand that there is a reason that score is at that level. It may be a reason that we don't like, so therefore we're gonna say no. But there may be something else behind there, and medical is a big one. On my personal credit report, I have like 3 medicals that are on there from bills that I never received in the mail, because everything's automated online, and they expect you to just go online and know that you have a bill there to look at and pay, okay? It may be something else that happened in their life, where maybe they were out of the country, or maybe there was a robbery at their house, or maybe something really drastic happened in their family that diverted their attention for a while, because they had to go through months worth of chemo or something, okay? So instead of just looking at the score and saying, oh, this is a no, I'm moving on, I call them back and I say, okay, well, here's what we found on your credit report. Can you explain to me what happened? What caused this to happen, okay? Now, what have you done since then,
To
okay?
make it,
To make sure that doesn't happen again, or what's your repayment history been since that occurred, okay? So it's not just a blanket no, but it's a no with a story in there, and I've got to find out what that story is. Now, I don't want to paint the picture that we're going to approve everybody.
Yeah, you
and
can't have
nothing
you
matters.
can't have a 420 credit score and be like, well, Jim said.
Yeah, exactly. No. That's not gonna happen. But at least at a community bank, and especially at this bank, you're gonna get a chance to tell us what happened, okay?
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens from there.
And even if it's a no, again, credit is repairable. That's why you have all these credit repair companies. And I tell people, you pay people all of this money to do something that you can actually do. And sitting down with somebody like myself, I don't do a whole lot of credit repair, but if it's a need, I will sit down and help you and say, if you pay this off, and this off, or if you talk to, you understand what I'm saying? It's something
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
can be fixed. You can't keep putting your head in the sand. It doesn't get better if you don't address it.
Exactly, you can't ignore it. You've got to address it and try and fix it. And banks have products to help you with that, secure credit cards. So if you have damaged credit and you are trying to repair that, and if you have $500 to put in an account, secure credit card. So now you can go out and you can have a credit card, you can use a credit card, it gets reported on your credit report, and you begin having good things happen on your credit report. Secured loans, can help you out. So banks do have ways of helping to fix that. So, like you say, Sean, don't ignore it. Face it, let's talk about it, let's see if we can't help somehow. I can't help all the time, but sometimes I can.
And what happens is you have to understand and define what help is, because if you walked out of a session with myself or with Jim, knowing more than you did when you walked in, you were helped. You might not have walked out with money, but now you have a plan and an action plan on what to do to try to come back and get that money. Because as he said, it might not be no right now, but it's maybe a delayed. Or not, not right now, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not no, but not right now.
Not right now.
And
And here is how to get to the yes.
Exactly, and that information you charge how much for?
Nothing.
So you do it for free?
I do it for free.
Hey, see, there's people out there that work, and do stuff like that for free, huh? I get flack about that, but what it is that I always try to partner myself with people that care. And as you said, when you see an effect in your community, that's your reason for getting up. I always tell people I can change people's lives with the stroke of a pen with sitting down with financial plans. They think that they need thousands of dollars to do it. We've started plans as low as $50 a month.
Sure.
And people's lives would be dramatically changed or affected. So I think that is definitely awesome. And Jim, I'm going to have them back. So everybody that's listening, this is not the last time. Don't worry. We are going to have him back. He is a partner of mine. And as a trusted advisor for my clients, what I tell them is this. When you come to me for a recommendation for a bank, Jim's my guy. That's who I use. If you want 3 or 4 other recommendations, I can point you to banks, but I know how Jim works. I've seen him take care of some of my clients, and I feel most comfortable sending my clients to him, because if you go to any big bank, and we're going to talk about that because I know we're wrapping up with time. If you go to any big bank, people say, well, I can take a check and deposit it. They don't have that many locations, whatever the case may be. Jim has made things so convenient. We're going to talk about that.
Good.
Talk about, somebody saying, well, you know what, Sean, I don't want to do business with Jim because they don't have a whole lot of locations.
Well, and like we just spoke about, you have to face what's wrong. Bank has to face what its weaknesses are, what its opportunities are, would be a better way of putting it. And our locations may not be the most convenient.
Okay.
However, there's this thing called technological advances that has occurred.
Wait, so
okay?
it's technology that can make things better?
Technology to make things better.
Talk to me about it.
Okay, I know, we're here on the YouTube, right? Okay.
He said the YouTube.
The YouTube, in the interwebs and things like that, okay? I don't know, I'm not a millennial, I'm an old guy. But, one of the things that I kind of smile at when I talk to prospects, that I haven't turned into clients yet is where are you banking now? I'm at a mega bank. Okay, why? Well, there's one right down the street from me. That's fantastic. When was the last time you were in it? And I get that look, Sean. I can't tell you the last time I was in the bank. Okay. You're in a coast-to-coast national bank. Why? Well, when I travel on vacation, I know I've got a branch right there. Sean, I don't know about you or the listeners, but when I'm in Florida in my bathing suit and my flip-flops, the last thing I'm doing is walking into my bank. It's not even on my list of things to do when I'm traveling, okay? If I have my credit card, I have my debit card. If you're real old school, you get a checkbook, okay? That's what you need when you're traveling. Who travels to go into a bank? I don't see it happening.
That is definitely not on the itinerary. That
Right,
stop
so-
at the local Bank of America.
Yeah, exactly. So, with our locations, how do we make it convenient for you? Well, we have mobile banking, okay? So we're a small community bank with mobile banking. You want to deposit a check, take a picture of it. It's deposited, okay? You want to check your balances, check it on your phone. Once again, if I'm on vacation and need to check my balance and don't have my phone, I take my laptop out. I've never walked into a branch. I don't think I've walked into a branch as a customer in probably 10 years.
And
okay?
one of the things that you said very early on is the relationship. If there's something really wrong and you're out of town, you're probably going to call the person as a relationship to help
Exactly,
you.
the person that you know. And then my next question will be, well, that branch that's right down the street, who's working there?
Yeah,
Who's your person? Who are you sitting down and talking to that's solving your issues? Chances are, look, you're checking your online, you're checking your cell phone, you're looking at your ATM balances, you're banking through the ATM, you're banking through your credit and debit cards. Very few people are walking into branches anymore. Now, there is that segment that still does. That's hence why we have our brick and mortars. If you feel the need to go wait in line to make your deposit, we will accommodate that, okay? But that's just going away. That's not really how it's done anymore. So we do have all the features, all the services, all the benefits for businesses. You don't want to go to the bank and deposit your money. We have remote deposit capture. Matter of fact, knowing what the old RDC systems were that I used to sell compared to ours just blows me away with what we're able to do through our RDC compared to what I used to sell as RDC. We have merchant services, we have zero balance accounts, controlled disbursement accounts, analyzed accounts. All big businesses listening know what that stuff is, small businesses don't. I'm gonna help you grow to need those, okay? I already spoke about mobile banking and RDC, ATMs, we've got it all. If they have it at the mega banks, we have it, okay? And we have that personal touch that I have to have. Sean, I survive as a lender, commercial banker, I'm gonna say, not just a lender, but a commercial banker, through my referrals from my clients and through my centers of influence like yourself, okay? At the mega banks, I had to dial for dollars. I had to cold call, I had to walk the streets and bang doors. I had to interrupt your workday when you're trying to do what you love to do, which is grow your business. I had to stick my face in there and interrupt you, okay? I don't do banking that way as a commercial banker anymore. So in order to survive and feed my kids, I have got to be better than the competition at the relationship. And that's what we do at CTB better than anybody else, is cement that relationship with our clients.
And people don't understand how huge that is. Relationships, people are gonna do business with people that have three things: people that they know, they like, and they trust. The know and the like part is easy, I always say that, but the trust part comes over time and building and doing what you say you're gonna do. And that's how you develop and build relationships. Again, the three pillars that, well, I'm gonna say four because I gotta throw myself in there, but you wanna have the good banker, the good CPA, and a good attorney. And if you don't have those, you can start with one. If you have a banker, go to your banker and say, who do you recommend as a CPA? If they say, well, I don't work with anybody as a CPA, that might not be the best banker.
Wrong banker.
See what I mean? So, and vice versa. All of those, in those three professions that we talk about, and I throw myself in the banker role because it's a financial consultant position. We know that. Like if you ask me I have a CPA that I deal with, or you say, who's your bank? I have a banker that I deal with, and I bring that value to my clients. And I know we're winding down, and we got so much information that we're missing. But the reason that I love Citizens Trust Bank is Citizens Trust has started something, and we're gonna wrap up on this. Citizens Trust has started a movement, Bank Black. Can you please talk about that? The reason I say that is because I get a lot of flack about this, Jim. And it might be a little uncomfortable to you, because anybody that's watching can understand we're talking about a black bank. And if you see Jim, it might be a little awkward. He's the white guy in the room, if you didn't notice. But people say Black Lives Matter, and they started that coalition. And believe me, as a black man, I agree. I don't think that anybody, let alone black people, should be getting gunned down in the streets or anything like that. But I said, until we change that, black dollars have to matter.
Oh, absolutely.
Black dollars have to matter. We have to make sure that the man with the gold makes the rule. And we are we spend billions of dollars, but we don't do it and make our dollars effective. So Citizens Trust has started a movement called Bank Black. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I absolutely can. Thank you for mentioning it. And I'll make my marketing person very happy by saying hashtag Bank Black, hashtag I am CTB.
Look, the
Okay.
old man is hashtag.
Okay, I'm hashtagging. I'm not bad for an old guy.
Now here's the thing.
I
his
just
marketing-
discovered ringtones the other day, so.
Wow. So here's the thing. His marketing person talked to him before he left. Jim, let's get the hashtag going. So let's say that again. Hashtag. What's the hashtag?
Hashtag Bank Black,
Uh-huh.
hashtag I am CTB.
I am
Okay, so
CTB.
please use that on your social media.
And also, I need everybody to do those two hashtags: Bank Black, hashtag Bank CTB.
I am CTB.
I am CTB, and also hashtag Black Dollars Matter. All right. So go ahead, Jim, and let's talk a little bit about
Absolutely, and I wish we had about 3 more hours, because I could go on
Oh,
forever.
that. Anybody got nowhere to go? We can stay here all night.
Well, we were very blessed to have Usher, T.I., Jermaine Dupri, Killer Mike, all these folks came down, visited us at our 75 Piedmont location a while back, and Killer Mike has been absolutely fantastic advertising and pushing Bank Black and pushing Citizens Trust Bank. By pushing, I mean the knowledge that we're here and that we're out there. I would like to say everybody bank at CTB, but when it comes to Bank Black, I'm gonna say everybody bank with an African American bank, okay? Reason why is, in years past, the African American community understood the power of empowering African Americans in business and banking, okay? And that's where our legacy customers at our bank have come from. I think there's a small disconnect in today's African American youth about how impactful and important they are to do exactly what their parents did. and to put their monies in money in African American banks, okay? Now, I don't wanna paint the picture that we're weak or we're not well capitalized or whatever, exactly the opposite. Citizens Trust Bank is one of the best capitalized, strongest banks out there. Now, the celebrities I spoke of said, a call to action. 1 million African Americans take $100 and put it into an African American bank, and that is $100 million of capital that those banks are gonna use in the local communities to further strengthen and better the lives of the African American community, and by association, all communities, Latino community, the Asian American community, okay? Even the Caucasian community, all communities are gonna benefit when the African American youth take their money and put it into the banks that are gonna make sure everybody gets a fair shake, okay? That it's a level playing field,
Amen.
okay? So I'm gonna piggyback on Killer Mike and what he does for us and say, tomorrow, it's Friday, it's March 3rd tomorrow, please go to your nearest African American bank, CTB, open up an account, put some funds in there, and I'm gonna tell you that I am gonna use your money in the local community to make things better for all. That's the strength of the Bank Black movement. I am all for rallies and protests and getting the word out there. Now take your money, put it in the bank. If you're a business owner, come to the African American Bank and get a loan. Use our consultative services, and let's strengthen our communities all across the board. I think it is vitally important that this be done.
I agree, and we're gonna wrap it up on that because that's so powerful. Salute to Killer Mike, he's been doing a great job in pushing that. But as he said, if you start an account with a African American owned bank, I gotta stop saying black, African American owned bank, it's still your money. They're not taking your money, it's still your money. But you have to understand the power of your dollar. You have to understand, as he said, the older generation understood what that meant to keep our money in the community. Now, we're not trying to say we're trying to demise or bring down any other community, but if you look at other races, they do it all the time. I'm from New York, and people might take a little offense. The Jewish people do it all the time, and it doesn't stop us from doing it for ourselves. So, with that being said, we want to hashtag again.
Hashtag Bank Black and hashtag IamCTV.
And also hashtag, this is the hashtag that I'm using for my show. It is hashtag Black Dollars Matter. Please hashtag Black Dollars Matter, because until we understand the power in our dollars, we will never really be winning. With that being said, Jim, thank you very much for coming out here, and this was an awesome show, man. I had a great time with you today.
Oh, excellent. I am sure this is your top show of all time.
Oh, well, not really. Any show that I'm on is probably going to be the best show.
All right, gotcha. But no, I want to thank you, Sean, very much for having me come out. This has been a blast. It was as much fun as I thought it would be. I want to thank 108 Praise Radio, voicing the gospel. You guys have been great. Thank you very much for having me out. And I've always wanted to say one thing.
What's that?
And we're back! I always wanted to say that, so.
Wow,
Thanks again, Sean.
No problem, man. And with that signing out, man, I just want to say again, thank you everybody that signed in and tuned in tonight and listened. Truly appreciate you. Again, we'll be back next week, next Thursday at 7 o'clock with another powerful and informative show. So please don't forget, hashtag Black Dollars Matter. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And with that being said, you are getting down to business with Sean Bailey, a financial lifestyle planner, on 108 Praise Radio, voicing the gospel. I will see you soon. God bless.